Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Issues and Answers with yours truly, Valencia Stovall, Honorable Valencia Stovall. Today is April the 1st, and no, it is not April Fool's Day. I know many of y'all may think that, but it's not April Fool's Day. And you're live in living color. And because you are listening to the new WCEG Network, the winner of the 2023, I believe it's the Cry Key, or I'm going to say Cry Key Radio Award. Yes, we did win that. And we're ranked number 2 worldwide for community variety talk radio genre. Y'all, I'm posting on my other page. That's why you see me looking over. So today's show, as you know, but you also make sure that you're tuning in with us on WCEGTalkRadio.com. Click live stream tab or watch us live on your smart TV, YouTube, Twitter, X, Facebook, Linked, and LinkedIn. We're the worldwide community empowerment group where we speak life into the community. Subscribe free to our YouTube channel, WCEG Network, and we also have a few platforms that we are on. You can also find us on free WCEG mobile apps. Go to your Apple Store or Google Play Store. We're on Roku streaming, and even Alexa. You can tell Alexa, play WCEG Talk Radio. We have 12 podcast distribution platforms, and I know I must give you this disclaimer today. The topics and opinions are those of the show hosts and guests and not WCEG Network. And we thank you for your continued support, and make sure you tell a friend to join us. And it's every time I start my show off, we always take a moment of silence for those who are no longer here with us on earth and those who are not able to live a more abundant and active life, quality of life. I continue to uplift my dear friend, Chief Emmanuel Adeyemo, who remains hospitalized. We know God is in control, and we also know that he still performs miracles. All right, so we're going to get right into today's show, and it's going to be exciting. I promise you it's going to be exciting and full of energy. My special guest is no stranger to the microphone and social media. She is known for her outspoken and very candid conversations. And we have none other than Angel Massey. Most of y'all may know her as a celebrity fit mom. And also she also started the He Too movement. And recently is a talk show host on the Fat Addict on WIGO 1570. Hello,
Hey.
Angel, and welcome to Issues and Answers.
Well, thank you for having me, Miss Honorable Valencia Stovall. Go Stovall. That's all. Our next state senate for District 34. And my friend and my candidate.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. And we really appreciate you joining us today. For the last time you were on the show was back in 2020 when I asked you to run for state representative of District 74 because I was retiring, of course, to run for U.S. Senate. So I think that was the last time you were a guest on the show. And we know that you are the proud mother of 2 great sons, Christopher and Kyle Massey.
That's right.
Who are former childhood and also now adult actors. They are writers, they are producers, you name it, they know how to do it. Chris starred on the Zoe 101 and Kyle That's So Raven and had his own spinoff of Corey in the House.
That's right.
And in 2016, you all were my guest as a state representative when we actually did an invite resolution that recognized the work of Christopher, and Kyle Massey and what they've done in the industry and for the state of Georgia. And that was House Resolution 1105. And for some of you all who may not know, when I said Zoe 101 and I talked about That's So Raven and Corey in the House, but something else that's very important is that they were the first siblings and first African Americans to simultaneously be nominated for an Emmy in the same category for outstanding children's programming. Y'all, that's not easy to be able to do. So we're talking to some people that have made history. Kyle was the first African American male to have a spinoff called Corey in the House. And it's funny because I used to watch That's So Raven and Corey in the House. Who knew years later I was going to meet the mom and meet him as well? And he was on the Disney Channel. Christopher was the only African American on Zoe 101.
Right.
And so, Angel, just thank you. You know, we talk a lot about parents being responsible for children's lives, and both of their parents, deserve kudos. So you and Mike definitely deserve kudos for what you all have been able to do, with your sons and balancing that particular act. So besides being the mom of child and adult stars,
yes,
who is Angel Massey?
Well, I am a very fair person. I'm a neutral person. I am a go-getter. I was taught not to take no as my first answer. Don't just take no as my first answer and then walk away. I am a person that, if someone asks me a question, most oftentimes you probably won't like my answer because it's not going, because I think I give every question an in-depth perception. I'm not going to just take one side of the situation and then just go with it. I basically pretty much am really fair and optimistic. I'm a really fair, optimistic person. I'm a really high energy person. I call myself a kid oftentimes, even though I'm really grown. I call myself a big kid because I just love having fun. I love making people laugh. I run a tight ship. When I was raising my kids when they were much younger, we had a great time. We've had a great life. Like I said, I believe in what's right and what's fair. It doesn't matter, what the situation is. I'm for the underdog, the big dog, whoever's doing the right thing at the time. That's the opinion and the side that I'm going to take. And it oftentimes is not the popular side. Like when you mentioned my He Too movement, that was started based on a situation with my son. It was the right thing to do, not just because I was his mom, but it was the right thing to do. And that situation has affected other people as well, that we now know, like national news stories, that people have been wrongfully convicted. And the exoneration list is very relevant now and prominent in our world headlines, where we've seen people get out of jail. They were in jail incarcerated for 19, 15, 20, 45 years. And then they were let go because they were wrongfully convicted. So I'm the person that is going to listen to what you have to say. And then I'm going to tell you my opinion based on the information that you give me. And I can have a discerning spirit to find the missing pieces of what you've told me and what you've left out. So I'm a big kid, though. I love having fun. I love, my energy. I'm a person that what you see with me is what you get. I'm the same. I am. I don't switch it up. Like everybody gets the same version of me. I've never been into a fight. I've never gotten into a fight before, a fist fight ever in my life. And the only time that I swing at somebody is when they swing first. But when you swing, just don't miss.
Right. you heard it from the fact addict. That when you swing, you better not miss. And talking about swinging, there's a lot of conversation, about what has happened with Kyle, being wrongfully and falsely accused for that potential what they seemingly think is a crime, which he's very innocent. And of course, we've had our time where we've had to fight for consumer protection.
Yes.
When I was a legislator, and y'all probably, this is funny. I met Angel. I didn't know she was my constituent when I met her. I met her through. I was at an event over in Forest Park, and I ended up one of the state troopers I knew him from the work that he was doing in the community, and then he introduced me to Angel, and we found out that we had a mutual friend, childhood friend together. And I was
And
like, oh, this is a small world.
and our families, your dad and Aunt Bunny, our families grew up together in South Atlanta.
Right. Yeah. So and ever since then we've gotten along. And no, just with anything, we don't agree on everything. But one thing about that I can say about Angel is, like you said, she's the same yesterday. You see her tomorrow, she's gonna be the same. And she's gonna speak exactly what's on her mind, whether you agree with it or not. And there's been plenty of times like, what, Angel, what? And she say the same thing to me. But our friendship, we have a very good friendship. And when I, heard about the issue of with the consumer protection, she said, Valencia, you got to do something. And she is one of the type of people who will research. She
That's
will
right.
research and find those facts. And like she said, she's able to decipher what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. So if you're going to have a conversation with her, make sure that you have an intelligent conversation where you have your facts and you're able to prove those facts. And then y'all have a good conversation. But if you don't, she's going to shut you down real fast. And your feelings may get hurt. But
Most
Angel also is the founder of the Pick Me Foundation. And Angel, I have my big sheet. So you all, if you ever watch her show on 1570 WIGO on her Instagram live post, she has her notes, but you won't never see the paper. But she has these big old notes that she always said, you can't cheat on my paper. So since we're live and we're in two different locations, she can't cheat on my paper. And I have my own paper where I went and did some research, some more research.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, she founded the Pick Me Foundation. And why did you decide to be a founder of the Pick Me Foundation?
That is such an excellent question. So, you know what? My nephews at the time, Robert and Zion Grady. Back then I was going to lunch. I had a standing date. There was during the consumer protection situation when we were staying. I was misplaced from my home for 8 months, and nephews with me at the hotel at the Hampton Inn over there on Camp Creek. So I had my nephews Robert and Zion Grady with me at the time. Robert was in middle school and Zion was in elementary school over at Heritage, right off of Old National. And I was going to eat lunch with him every Friday. We had a standing date with each other. And so through that, having the date with my nephews, my oldest nephew, he wouldn't allow me to come to his middle school to have lunch. But I went to the school enough to where I learned his friends. I learned the way he moved around at school. I knew his teachers. And Zion at his school, when I would go to have lunch with him every Friday, I would stop and get him Wendy's. There's a Wendy's for people that's here local in Atlanta. There's a Wendy's that's right on Old National, the only Wendy's that's on Old National Highway that's right there in College Park. So I would stop right there at the Wendy's and take him his little 10-piece chicken nugget for lunch every Friday. But I would also make him share his food. He couldn't eat all 10 of his nuggets and his French fries in front of the kids at the table. So with that being said, I started making him realize the more you give, the more you're going to receive. And the more you share, the more people care. And so I realized that through that, because my mom always taught me, you don't enter a room unless you have enough food for everybody. So I made him share with the people that were sitting around him, but I still, and oftentimes he would give away his whole thing of chicken nuggets and French fries. He may eat one nugget and a couple of French fries because he would share it with the people at his classmates at the table. And I realized that basically, if you just put in labor with kids and you genuinely show them that you care and that you are, and they can trust you with themselves, and you, no matter what they're going through, even in the course of that day for just that 30 minutes, if you can reward them, even though they don't even realize that they're being reward them by Zion, share one of those chicken nuggets with that. Share. She's sitting right next to you. Ask her, Zion, share one of those chicken nuggets with him. And it was an experiment. And I realized that kids, they do have potential to do the right thing, and they want to be acknowledged and rewarded, and everybody is not going to play sports. So I wanted to Pick Me Foundation to honor and reward kids for doing good in their community, their work, their community, their home, and their church, sharing, caring, giving. And that's where so basically my foundation was started from, interacting with my nephews at the time at elementary school and middle school, and it worked brilliantly. And when I first pitched it to have it done as a 501c3, they were like, oh my God, this is a brilliant idea. And it's anti-bullying as well. Mm-hmm. So they get rewarded in their school, church, and home, in their community for combating anti-bullying, not being a bully, and making friends with somebody that you normally wouldn't be friends with, or making friends with the person that don't have a lot of friends, and sharing with somebody, and kind of taking away just your familiarities around you as a kid. And it opened up your possibilities to, you don't know what type of friend somebody's going to be if you hang with the same person every day. And so that's what inspired me to do it, was my nephew Zion. And now that same nephew is the #1 sought out football player in the country because of his high character. And it was started with everything that we poured into him. And now he is one of the most distinguished kids you ever want to meet, especially being sought out like he is. So I'm so proud of him, and I'm so proud of the foundation and the opportunity, and that, that God have just given all of us. And it was just fantastic. That's how it started, through my nephews, Zion, Grady, and Rob. And Josh, I didn't see my nephew Josh as often, because, Zion and Robert, they stayed with me at the hotel. Josh just came to the hotel on the weekends. But I had Robert and Zion full time. So I was their full time, guardian, going back and forth to the school. So that's how it started.
Wow. And, and this was during the time when your children were both adults. So it wasn't that, that you had your children and your nephews. You were kind of serving as a second time around support system, for them. When was
because so what I said was, I always said, because I'm really, really tough on my kids, super tough. In fact, so much so until when I was so tough on my kids, and then I started being so tough on my nephews. One time I had my nephew Zion Grady, this was when he wasn't taller than me. I had him hemmed up in the corner one time to get his work done. He was hemmed up in the corner in the hotel room, and he just started screaming and crying. He's like, I don't want to be distinguished no more. I don't want to be distinguished. And I told him, I said, you don't have a choice. You have a choice in some things, but you don't have a choice in whether you're going to be distinguished and respectful in this world. That is something that I'm not compromising on. So I used to say, either I'm going to be able to have a best-selling book with because with my children, I knew that I had reign over them because I was their mom. Now with my nephews, it was a slightly different story, because I didn't really see them every day. And they had their own mom and their own parents. And when I exhibited the same enforcement and the reinforcement and enforcement that I used on my own children, I said, okay, either I'm on to something, or either everybody's going to hate me. And look at them all now. They're all household names. So it worked. It worked. But I was willing, I didn't even think about it, because in my brain, I knew that I was doing it from a place from my heart. And I knew that I thought in my brain that it was the best thing to do. So if I had lost them during the process, I think that I would have been okay with it, because I knew intentionally I was doing the right thing. I wasn't doing anything that was going to harm them at all. They didn't like me. Oh, my nephews, they hated my guts doing it in real time. They hated my guts, and it was 2 of them. They could have tied me up if they wanted to. But what I'm saying is, it worked. And now that my nephew Robert has had his own son, and at his baby shower, I said, look at you, Robert Pooh. I said, you look at our little Roy. I said, now you're going to be teaching, because my little I always say, Auntie Angel taught him decimals and junk. He used to always say, I don't feel like doing them decimals and junk. So when he had his son, when he was having the baby shower, I said, look at you, Robert. I said, now you're going to be teaching our little Roy your decimals and junk. He said, no, I'm not. You're going to do it. So that was my compliment of all the times that I made them do their work and taught them the fundamentals of math, taught them the fundamentals of life, being respectful, high character human beings. At the time when they were younger, they didn't like it. They hated my guts. But now he trusts me to turn his son over to me to teach him decimals and jump. Mm-hmm. You see, Chris already knew decimals and jump, so I didn't have to worry about them. So, fantastic journey that God have us on. And yeah, I'm just that auntie. I think I'm cool. They always call me. They don't mind taking me places, except for Robert just wasn't having me go to lunch with him in middle school. But now he will. He'll let me go to lunch with him now. But and no, player, I'm not gonna be able to let you do that. You're not coming to my school having lunch with me in middle school. You could can that, sister.
When you think about, like you said, you had to be tough on your kids because of not just them being children, but because of their celebrity status. And I know you and I always talk about that, and you said that you did not want their reputation as child actors to be that people don't want to be around them, or they have nasty attitudes, they're not respectful, because that will harm their career in the future, for them getting additional, opportunities. And I know you and I talked about that a lot. And even with me, with my children, even though they were in elementary, they were like middle and high school when I decided to go into politics. But even as a business owner and people that was active in the community, even I think about my dad, and my mom said, "You're not going to embarrass me when you go somewhere. You carry my name." So, they taught us, me and my two sisters, and then in return, we taught, our children to be respectful, and your word is your bond. You tell somebody you're gonna do something, that's what you're supposed to do, and you represent us when you are not in the presence of us. And so, that says a lot. And, even though we were in two different industries, but the principle behind it, is still the same, and it works. Discipline our children, it works.
So you're right. And so let me tell you this, the difference in show business, and this is what I say all the time. Because what happens in television that's super true and is unique to anything else, anything else in the country, in the world that we can do. What happens is the natural circle of life gets interrupted with television. What do I mean by that? So you have children that now becomes the adults' bosses, right? Mm-hmm. So when you have television shows like Full House and That's So Raven and Corey in the House and any of the kid television shows that are on Disney Channel and Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network or any of those networks, those platforms where there's live action kids, the people that work on those productions, the children are their bosses. Mm. So now you have your natural circle of life has been completely interrupted, because there have been instances where if you could not get along with that child, if that child said, "I don't like Miss Valencia," or that child said, "I don't like Miss Angel," you know what happens? Miss Valencia and Miss Angel is going to get replaced.
Wow.
Because the sponsors are paying for the lead actor or actress, and sometimes the lead actor or actress is a kid. So what I realized very early is, and I have come across a lot of children in the industry that when I tell them something one time and they did it a second time, I didn't look around to chastise them. I didn't care who they were. I didn't care how many credentials they had on television or in film. If I tell you not to come in this room right here, or if I tell you don't do blah, 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 that's it. I came from the South. I wasn't born and raised in California. I was a mother first. And then the blessing that we had was being on television. But I never, not one time, ever compromised my values. And I never allowed Christopher and Kyle. We had people on set that were assigned to Kyle and Christopher to bring them this and pick up their clothes and their wardrobe and makeup and hair, makeup and all that stuff is a part of, production. So that's different. But as far as like when they take that wardrobe off and leave it on the floor and, telling somebody to go and get them some water. I'm like, no, 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 no. We're not even starting because I'm not going to get them any water. And and if I do pick up their ish off the floor, it's only going to be because I want to, not because it's my job to. You understand? And so I never allowed them to participate, like they were able to, they were allotted to, but I never allowed them to participate in that disruption of the circle of life. So whenever Miss Nancy Butts was our wardrobe person on That's a Raven and Corey in the House. Whenever she came in Kyle's room, I told her if she had to find a pair of shoes, one shoe and one sock and a shirt and a belt, let me know, because I had a problem with it. No, you don't work for him. I know that's the job of the wardrobe person on set, and that's what they get paid to do, but not when it came to Kyle, not when it came to Christopher. So that's what I'm saying. So I have an exemplary reputation. Props, whenever they would have to use props for something, that Christopher and Kyle Massey, they had to return the props to the prop department. The prop department didn't have to come rambling around in their dressing room, or in Christopher's situation, we had a trailer. We had a dressing room on That's a Raven. They didn't have to come rambling around in their stuff to try to find. No, my kids were instructed by me, Angel Massey, to return those items back to such and such and such and such department. So that's the reason why when people say, when I said blame the parents, I said that from a space of, when you are a part of the problem, you have to take responsibility. Now, what do I mean by that?
Now, hold on before you go there. So, I wanted the listening audience to hear from you from another perspective, from what they may see on the Celebrity Fit Mom, where you're having fun and you're avid person when it comes to effect fitness and promoting that. And then now with you being a radio show host on The Fact Addict, because there's always another person behind, those the people that people see out in front. And I wanted them to know, who is Angel Massey, and why, when you say what you said, when we get ready to get into that whole discussion about the former executive of Nickelodeon, Dan Snyder. So we get ready to actually you led a segue to get into it. Okay. So kind of tell us, and I did see this one post, it made me laugh so much, where you had on your Instagram, you had pictures of fly swatters as a picture, and you said, "Shoe fly, don't bother me." And it was so fun. I laughed so hard, because I could just imagine you even posting that. In my head, I could imagine you posting like, "Don't come bother me." So what is it that all of these people are bothering you about, that you got millions and millions of new folks following the Celebrity Fit Mom and the He Too, and now with The Fact Addict? So kind of give us some information on, why did you say blame the parents, not Dan?
Okay, I'll tell you that. So to be exact on the number, I have had my account reached 85,000 people in 4 days. And because I made a comment, okay, so the headline of the whole, pretty much the whole country right now, was that this documentary called Quiet on the Set. And it's just nailing Nickelodeon and Dan Snyder, the producer of pretty much 90% of their programming, children's programming, to the fire for, whatever all is in that documentary. I didn't watch it, and I'm not going to watch the documentary. But what I did see, and what I personally was commenting on was, I'm going to finish that thought. What I was commenting on was the fact that I didn't see the documentary, but I did see Dan Snyder's statement, or his interview, defending himself and clarifying some things. And a lot of the things that he said is accurate. There are different vetting levels to anything before it comes on television. So that's true. Even if, no matter what he writes, it goes through a whole vetting process. And when it went through all the vetting processes, it made it to television. So what has happened is there's certain entities. One entity was fired the first season. She's the engineer behind and the pioneer behind this whole situation. She's a part of it. She's one of the engineers. There may be many of them, but I do know of one of them for sure. She was fired the first season of the show because of lots of different reasons. Okay. So she was let go. So now there's motive. Okay. So she's a part of this whole quiet on set. Now, how did I play a part in it? Mm-hmm. Was out of all the shows that Dan Schneider has produced, and he was Nickelodeon. Pretty much every kid show on Nickelodeon was his. So all of them for years, including Zoe 101, all the shows that were big shows, starting with Kenan and Kel, they were Dan Schneider's. They had Dan Schneider's fingerprints and footprints all over them, and they were all successful. So now, with that being said, there was one clip that they used with Christopher in it to sell the program, where Christopher was doing something with a balloon or something, and the documentary was suggesting that it was sexual explicit material in the writing. Now, again, out of all the characters, we would own. Now, grant you pointed out Christopher Massey was the only Black character on Zoe 101, and out of all the shows that they ever done, somebody chose to use that clip from Christopher on Zoe 101. So now, in the same conversation that they're showing my kid, at the time he was a minor, with a balloon doing something sexually suggestive, in the same conversation with a guy that was allegedly was a pedophile, according to them in the documentary, and then according to them, Dan Schneider was writing sexual explicit material. And at the same time, they're talking about how the parents turned their children over to the industry. So I took it personally because none of those things apply to Angel Massey or Christopher Massey or the Massey family. So when you put everything, just like collectively, they have grouped Dan Schneider in to be a pedophile, when they have nobody ever mentioned that Dan Schneider was a pedophile. However, they did mention that the other guy was a pedophile, and the other guy went to jail for 18 months, and the other guy had to register as a sex offender. But they never said any of those things about Dan Schneider. So now when you have a bunch of people that can't use critical thinking skills to determine which character go with what story, everybody gets grouped together. So now I'm grouped together with the parents in show business. They just want their kids to be on TV. These kids on TV, they all screwed up. Everybody, no. That don't apply to everybody. You're not going to collectively group me with a bunch of people that certain situations don't apply to. Now, what I did say, and what I'm not backing off of, is the lady, she just happened to be white. The lady, which is Drake Bell's mother, he just happened to be white. Dan Schneider happens to be white. We were the only Black on the show, so everybody white but us. Okay? Right. Everybody white but us. We're the only Blacks on the show. Christopher's Black self was on the show, and his Black family. When Kyle came, he was another Black. His mama, when I came, I was Black, and the people that took care of him was Black. We were the only Blacks on the set. Okay, so now my perception of somebody that never even went to 70, That's So Raven, we filmed 100 episodes. I never left the set, not to even go to the bank, to the gas station, to the corner store to pick up food. I stayed on the set from the time my son got there until the time they said it was time to go home. I never left. Zoe 101, it was two of us. You can't be in two places at one time. So in the summer, my family was hired to come, DNA family, blood family, my auntie's children, my first cousins by blood. my daddy's sister's children came, and my Aunt Bunny came, and they handled my son, Christopher Massey, on Zoe 101. So nobody ever left the set. And Mike, when Mike was doing it in the summer, nobody left the set. My children always had a parent with them the entire time for 12 hours. Never left. They were never allowed to leave the set ever. So for me, coming from a person like me, I'm speaking from a place of, I was very protective over my children when they were younger, when they were before television, during television, and now even post television, the way I'm fighting for my son Kyle. So that's just the type of mother that I am. So my first instinct was to say, okay, that is your fault, mama, that let some man pick up your minor child, wrangle him all day, teach him his lines all day, and then you allow him to spend the night with you, with him. That is your fault. You can't blame Dan Schneider. You can't blame Nickelodeon. You can't blame nobody but you first, because you put your child in that position to have that possibly happen to them. I'm not going to back off of that statement in that scenario. Again, I'm going to say that again. In the scenario where you let a perfect stranger pick up your child, wrangle your child all day, teach your child his or her lines all day, and then spend the night with that said person, that is your fault. Hashtag blame the parents. Right. So that's how I got written up about, like, everybody was coming at me talking about, why did I say blame the parents? Because if you use your critical thinking skills, Dan Schneider was never the person that did anything to a child. The only thing that he was accused for was having a toxic workplace and someone else's opinion of what his writing skills were. Because now what I would say to the writing skills, half these people have let their children grow up on Nickelodeon and Disney. And then one disgruntled person or some opportunist that want to make a name for themselves or cause problems for someone else. And now all these many years of scripts that this man have written, and now they sexual. Like, okay, what kind of parent are you that you sat and watched your children for 20 years, watch these programs, and now you let some ditto at a network tell you that it was sexual? What does that say about you as a mom? Right. Or that you let somebody else brainwash you to thinking that you allow your child to watch porn? It's like, makes sense. Jesus, make it make sense. Stupid.
Right. So, and I'm glad that I want to, definitely give you a chance to explain it, because I know some of the other interviews that just asked, specific to that particular question about what you said. But like you said, you have had a strong character as a parent of childhood and even adult actors. And so when you are saying blame the parent, you're coming from a perspective that I was a parent in that situation, as far as having, the children on set. We were the parents and family that decided not to leave our children alone with strangers. We were there as support to make sure that they were protected, because they still were children. So when you all hear her say blame the parent and not Dan, this is the perspective where she's coming from, is that I know exactly what I'm saying, because I have been on the set. I know what happens on those sets, and everything that the average person like myself don't have a clue about, when it comes down to what happens on the set, in that whole industry. Just like if I was down at the Capitol, like a whole incident about that time somebody was knocking on the door and everybody took that and ran down the street. Oh, the governor didn't want to let her in, and it just got all distorted. And I'm saying, nobody goes to that door. And I was able to say that because guess what? I was a legislator that was at the Capitol for 8 years and never entered into that door. I always went through the front door, which everybody can go through that front door. So it was not uncommon for you nobody even goes and knocks on that door. So I just wanted to, to bring that out, that you have been there. and you know what is expected of a parent, and when it does not happen, you have every right, you have every experience to be able to comment on it, because you have been there on the set and you know what happens. So for all the people that that how many you said, 80 something, how many people you said?
Account reached 85,000 accounts in 4 days. Let me say this too. So literally, there's this account that commented something negative about me, right? So I learned that there are people that buy comments, they buy followers, and they buy likes. TMZ's demographic is 18 to 34, which they're preying on our children, because they're eight. When I say children, meaning the young adults that their brains really haven't fully developed yet at 18, according to statistics. Okay, so that's TMZ's demographic, 18 to 34 years old. There's a lot of these accounts that are they're called bots. They buy followers, they buy likes, and they buy comments. And they want to be famous and seen and popular and an influencer so bad until they're harming people. They're kids taking their lives and committing suicide and harming themselves because of comments on social media. So this person, right? So I started clicking on the profiles of the people saying negative things about me. Most of them were considered bot accounts because they were 0 followers, 0 likes, private accounts. They were just made to cause chaos and disdain on the internet. Right? So this one account I clicked on, and it was a mother and a daughter. I'm not going to call their names, but it was a mother and a daughter. So this mother and a daughter had one scene, a situation on there where they were talking about, the mom was talking about that the caption said, the teacher wouldn't allow my daughter to go to the bathroom. Okay. So the daughter says she's talking about being on her cycle and that BLOOD was all in her chair. Okay. So all of that, she's talking about that. Then the mama cut away, and then she comes back and the daughter says that she started to cry, and her friends told her it was going to be okay. Then the mama cuts away the video footage, and then the daughter comes back and on the footage and says how the teacher told her to go to the back of the class, and then the girl got into a confrontation with the teacher. I'm not going to the back of the class, doing all that right there. Okay, that talk. I ain't not going to the back of the class like you think I ain't back of the class. And then it cuts away, and then it comes back, and then the little girl says that the teacher told her to be quiet. I'm not finna be quiet. You're not finna separate me from the rest of the class. You letting everybody else talk. You didn't. And then it cuts back to the mama, and the mama says, "Now see, I wasn't even coming up there to the school to fight today. I ain't have on no sweatpants. I ain't have on no bunny or nothing today." Okay, so, and you know what I did? I forwarded that to my story, and I put #blame the parents. Right. That family, the little girl's mom, the little girl. Now I'm gonna go back to the Dan Schneider. This conversation stays with Dan Schneider. Okay, so this same family, a black little girl and a black mom. This same family, the little girl had the mama, and the mama is eating a corn dog. So you know how when it was a big corn dog, so she bites the corn dog. You know, by the piece of pizza that the cheese kind of lingers. Right. So bites the corn dog and the cheese lingers. And the little girl, the mama bites the corn dog. The little girl breaks the cheese. And then the both of them at the same time says 6 inches. Okay. So after they both say 6 inches, the little girl says, "Look at my mama nails. She paid $750 for her nails." Right. So then the mama says to the camera, so then the mama says to the camera, so the little girl takes her fingers and do like this, 6 inches like that bob on your head. Okay. So then the mama, they both laugh about the 6 inches on the bob. And then the little girl, the mama looks at the camera and she says, "Okay, I have a question for y'all," talking to the audience like you interviewing me right now. And she says, "Would you rather wear the same socks for a month or the same underwear for a week?" So the little girl said, "Oh, I've worn the same socks for a month." And the little girl's mama says, "And you've also worn the same underwear for a week too." Now, stop right there. Now, did you get any sexual innuendos out of that video?
Yeah.
Okay. And that was between a mother and a daughter.
Right.
Okay.
So,
So
we
that
we cutting out, yeah, we cutting down on time, and I want to make sure that I allow you um time to even kind of touch on the He Too
yes,
movement and what's going on with Cal. So end up you got about 3 minutes because I got to do my announcements and everything. But I just wanted I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you taking time to bring enlightenment, to the comments that you made, and why you made them and why you felt so strongly, and you're not going to back down on that because it is the duty of the parent is to protect their children. But go ahead and touch on Kyle's situation briefly.
so this is amazing, right? So Cal's situation was a whole Me Too scam from the beginning. He was falsely accused. He was never arrested. TMZ and his attorney, Lee Hutton, were backdoor emailing each other. They were in on the scam. TMZ knew that Cal had never been arrested when they released that story, but because TMZ released it, the world picked up on it and ran with the story. Now, fast forwarding, we have
Now,
where
what
we
year was that? What year was that, Angel?
2021, June 2021, they
Okay.
they they arrested Cal. They never did. They knew in advance that Cal did not have, they did never serve Cal. The court got the little subpoena thing back 4 days before they went on and had proceeded to have court without Cal. I did an interview with a retired judge. His name is Judge Joe Brown. And Judge Joe Brown said that that particular proceeding was grounds for to be nullified because of what they call abstentia, because Cal did not know that he had a court date. He never, they said they arrested Cal. They said that they released Cal on his own recognizance. Cal has never been to the state of Washington, never been to King County. It was all a lie. And then when they realized that it was a lie, nobody wants to admit that they screwed up, because then if they admit that they screwed up, everybody's going to start having to tell on each other.
Right.
Fast forward now, right? We have a fake arrest, a fake previous conviction. We've for discovery as of last year, October. Our new attorney asked for body cam footage, police patrol car footage, two-way communications, emails, witnesses that booked Cal. They have yet to produce it. It's now April 1st. That was October the 30th of last year. They've never produced the documents, because how can you produce something that doesn't exist? They never, Cal. He's never been previous convicted. He's never been in trouble before. It's a whole lie. And then just recently, Kendra Andreas, the victim's mother, that she claimed is the victim now. This whole situation, they're pretending to be victims. She called me and and she admitted to me over the phone that King County is corrupt, that she was sleeping with Cal. She was a stripper. She said she had to do what she had to do. The stripper girl that had DM'd me, that worked with her during the time where she was bragging about sleeping with Cal and trying to be ovulating when she sees him so she can get pregnant by Cal. That lady DM'd me, and then she admitted to talking to that lady and calling that lady and harassing that lady. And she told me that the lady was talking about me. And I said, first of all, how did you even know to call that lady? She said, Seattle is so small, everybody know everybody. She was like, because I don't know what she thought when she was going to get out of me when she called me. But the whole thing is a Me Too scam gone bad, and all of the participants will be highlighted, starting with TMZ, Lee Hutton, Dan Arvidson, Dan Satterberg, Laura Harmon, Maria Robinson, and Kendra Andreas. It's all a scam. My son has not done anything wrong at all. It's a lie. And it's made up, and they have inconvenienced us and tried to embarrass us and smear our names for 3 years now, going on 3 years with this whole charade, this Me Too scam that's gone bad. And my son is the victim of so much stuff, and it's so sad and it's so scary right now to be a Black man in America, because if they can do this to Kyle that has never even been there, they can't produce no documents. They've made up documents internally, everything. The prosecution even signed documents where the defense was supposed to sign, which is so not legal. Right. It's ridiculous, the corruption that they have done to my son and my name and my brand. They owe my son an apology. They owe me an apology. And I just don't know when we're going to get it. I don't know how soon this is going to resolve. But we did get a text message on Saturday well, Kyle got an email and he texted to me on Saturday. And so we're going to see. And it seems like, it seems like the heat is on somebody, because it seems like we're getting some movement. And it's been too long and it's been unfair. And I think that TMZ, with Harvey Levins being an attorney, as well as doubling as a sleazy journalist, that's an interesting combination, because he himself, as an attorney, he knew that Kyle had never been arrested, because he's TMZ. They're the sharks of shit. They know everything. They know everybody's business. But he proceeded to release that fake story on Kyle, knowing that it wasn't true. And he's an attorney. So why would he even want his name attached to something like that as an attorney? You didn't proofread those documents before you released them when you knew that they weren't true. But because he's a journalist, he put his journalist hat on to help to embarrass Kyle, when he knew when he released that. And he has a whole open case right now for the same thing that Dan Snyder is being accused of: toxic workplace, sexism, racism in the workplace. TMZ, Harvey Levins is mentioned, but nobody knows that story because he only presses sin on everybody else's business instead of his own. So let's do equal opportunity stories, headlines. You're not going to just pick on my family and my black male son. They haven't done anything, because you can and you get paid for clicks, and and that's not right. And he's an attorney, so he should have a higher standard of what he pressed send on as a sleazy journalist. And his demographic is 18 to 34. He's preying on the youth.
Right. And as we get ready to close out, I have a few more minutes left. I'm going to run through my announcements and everything. But, this was a much, much needed interview to allow you to be able to have the platform to explain, give the insight that most people don't get a chance. The only thing they see is something come up on the news and they run with it instead of investigating to see what makes sense. Like you said, using critical, your critical thinking skills when it comes down, wait, that doesn't even make sense. And then, like you said, the whole thing with Kyle has affected him in his career. Because a lot of times when people hear something negative, they disassociate. They don't want to be a part of it. So it has caused him monetarily, punitive damage, all kind of damages for all these years, for something that they cannot prove. And then it's unfortunate when you start looking at the justice system, how they could be so corrupt, with being able to get away with docking up documents for somebody that never was there. Like you said, once the discovery is done and they produce the documents, then they can say, yeah, he was there. But like you said, they know he was never there. And so, we wish it, to continue best, and, you continue to have my support. And for those of you all who want to know more and more and more, she has a whole storyline that you can go and you can follow. So tell the people how they can find you if they want to, for those who might not know where to find you at.
So go to, on Instagram, I am the Fit Celebrity Mom, and I have the salute, where I'm saluting. And then on Facebook, I'm Angel Massey. And if you want to call me, you can, but don't call me with no sideways stuff, because I'm going to feed you back what you give me. My phone number is 770-843-5146. If you want to call me about an interview, or you want to call and ask me questions or anything that's of substance, you are more than welcome to give me a call. But don't call me playing on my phone. Don't send me no text messages, and don't send me no crap on my Instagram, because I'm going to feed you back what you feed me. Okay? So, and if your Instagram is blame the parents, then definitely don't talk to me, because I'm going to highlight you and go blame the parents. Yeah, like old girl.
And then, and you're on WIGO 1570 on when can they find you?
Yes, I tune in to WIGO 1570 AM every Monday from 11:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am a unique talk radio platform. I don't talk about sports, and I don't talk about headlines. I have amazing guests every week that you can engage with, learn from, know what services they have to offer. We have a great time. We play really awesome music. My very first song that I played on my first
Ma'am, thank you. You are running into my time for me to finish up my. So if y'all want to hear what that music is and hear her talking about it, then go find her. She's on social media. You can find her at the Celebrity Fit Mom and
the Fit Celebrity Mom.
Oh, the Fit Celebrity Mom. Okay, the Fit Celebrity Mom and the Fat Addict. Yeah, we're not gonna talk about the glute, y'all. Y'all can go over there and find out all about that. Well, thank you so very much, Angel, for joining us. It's always a pleasure, and I appreciate your continued support. You know, for me in all my elections, and even now, I really do appreciate it. Okay, y'all, I have about 2 minutes to run into my.
Go Stovall, that's all.
Go Stovall, that's all. So we're going into the Say What segment. So, you know, every day there are situations happening all around us that make us want to say, what in the what? So recently, you know, the legislative session ended last week, and they passed legislation, which was House Bill 1105, that would penalize sheriffs and jailers if they don't work with the federal agency for immigration. And so what has happened in Athens, you know, there was a death that occurred, a murder of a UGA student by an undocumented immigrant. So a lot of people saw that in the news. Well, in Athens, there has been an increase in police presence. This is according to HAC, and they gave warnings that there was going to be an increase in police presence with, you know, with checking everybody's license and checking to make sure they're supposed to legally be here. And so then there's another bill that allows Georgia residents to sue local governments if they feel the local government is not following the immigration laws. Now, I'm telling you, that's to say what to the what. So Governor Kemp has until May the 7th to either sign the bill or veto it, or if he does nothing, it automatically becomes law. Now, that's to say what? So you can now sue the state, if this is signed, you all, and it's another bill, you can now sue the state of Georgia. You can sue not the state of Georgia, you can sue the local governments if you feel that they are not following the immigration laws. So yeah, I'm not
the immigration laws.
How what then?
I'm saying how would a person know that they're not following the immigration laws?
Well, that's why, you know, how you do research. That's what they're gonna have to do, is do research. So we're gonna pin that there because I only have 1 minute left.
Okay.
All right. So so that's to say what. In my announcements, of course, the Georgia Single Parent, we had the 3-day event. It was outstanding. And every year, of course, Angel participates. She nominates a single parent. And 1 year, I think it was our first year, we recognized Crystal Massey as a single parent. Yep. And so I thank the Planning Committee, National Leadership Group, Representative Schofield, who steps in on our legislative side. And we recognize 33 awardees across the state of Georgia, representing about 23 cities that they were awarded. We had an outstanding time. Souls to Medicaid 911. We had our last event. It was at Kelly Lake Cathedral Church of God in Christ. Much appreciation to the South Central Jurisdictional Political Action Committee of the Church of God in Christ, led by the President, Evangelist Mary Ward Cater. We appreciate the leadership of Bishop Norman Harper of the Southeast Regional Bishop. We thank the DFAC's Office, Health and Human Services, and Governor Kemp for allowing those agencies to come out and actually give answers to those who may have lost their coverage. And they also got a chance to get recertified on the spot. But remember, you all, if you're not sure whether you still have Medicaid coverage, the deadline is May the 31st. Make sure you go to Get Covered GA to check your status. You don't want to go to the doctor and you find out that you don't have any coverage. All right. Couple more announcements before I close out. I appreciate Vincent Cheeks, one of the conversations and education on WCEG. Reverend Joe Flint, I interviewed with both of those. He's with the People's Choice. And this Friday, I will be on the Veterans Show on WCEG, and Dr. Patrina White McClure on Saturday. I'll be interviewing with her. Just before, I have an actual forum, in-person forum for State Senate, District 34, with the Federation of Democratic Women in Fayette County. So this particular district does cover Clayton and Fayette. So that'll be our first in-person forum, and it's going to be at 349 Kenwood Drive in Fayetteville. Now they're gonna get started, and this will be this Saturday, April the 6th. My portion starts at 1:35 p.m. So if you're in the Fayetteville area and you want to hear live and in living color, my platform, what I plan on doing and being able to represent both Clayton and Fayette as the next state senator, then definitely be there. You know, we appreciate your prayers, we appreciate your support. Make sure you go to my website, gostovall.com, make your donation of any amount. Sign up to volunteer. If you want to sign, go ahead, make sure you let us know that, and join our email list. The time has called us. All good things must come to an end. We will be back on April the 15th. That's tax day, with new topics and exciting guests. The goal of Issues and Answers with yours truly, Honorable Valencia Stovall, is to educate you on those things you might not think of or think about unless you are in a situation to be concerned. Remember, you can sign up. Again, make sure you go visit gostovall.com. And thank you so very much, Miss Angel Massey, for gracing us with your presence today. And thank you all, and see you on April the 15th. Thanks a lot.